Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Cube Outside the Box. We're going to talk about Cube and it's going to get weird. My name is JJ, your personal Cube connoisseur. Okay, I have some incredibly exciting news today. I'm sure you're already aware, but Dekkaru, the founder, the admin, the genius behind the brainchild that is Cube Cobra, is going to have his personal cube featured on Magic the Gathering online in just a few days. Depending on when you're watching this, it might already even be up. So there's a couple things I want you to know. First of all, I'm going to tell you a tiny bit about the cube, and I'm going to do a sample draft and some playtesting with Dekkaru, so stay tuned for that at the end. The other thing I want you to be clear on is I'm going to stream the ever-living shit out of this thing. I've definitely got 2 times that I'm going to stream, and depending on how those go and how my tickets hold up, I'm going to do some more if I can. So please head on over to Twitch, make sure that you follow me, and check out my schedule because I'm going to do as much as I can, which isn't a ton with my schedule, but I'm going to do my best. So right now, let's get into the cube. Now, normally I talk a little bit about the cube and try to introduce you to things like the archetypes and all that, but that would be absolutely ludicrous. First of all, Dekkaru wrote an excellent article that's already live on the mothership. If you haven't read it, you should definitely watch my video, hit the like button, subscribe, all that stuff, and then head over and read his write-up thoroughly. It is linked in the description below. Another thing that's linked below is a link to Chateau Cube, where Dekkaru and Cultic Cube sit down together to talk about their cubes, because guess what? Cultic Cube is also going to be featured on MTGO a week after Dekkaru's. So we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I'm going to stream that one as well, and I'm going to have a little bit of a feature video, although Cultic Cube has their own channel, so definitely keep an eye out on that. All that's linked below. Hit that stuff up, and then come back and watch the rest of this video. So like I said, normally I'd go over all the archetypes and stuff, but instead of doing that, I'm just going to do my little awards, and then we're going to get right into 2 drafts. So the first award that I want to give the cube is what I'm going to call the Consistency Award. Now, lots of cubes play stuff like Path to Exile or Swords, or they play both. Not as many cubes will add that third copy that's Oust to make it just that much more consistent. And this was not the only example. There were other times where there were cards that you would expect to see in a cube, and then instead of kind of going wider and adding more options, Dekkaru really focused on creating some duplicate effects so that you have more than one opportunity to draft what you need, or if you manage to pick up multiple copies of things that you need, you end up in a really good place with an excellent, consistent deck. I really enjoyed the fact that sometimes you would see stuff like this and be able to pick up multiple copies of what feels like similar or same cards. The next award that I want to give is the Triad Award. There are a few little archetypes here that are not uncommon in Cube, but that you don't usually see in the more mainline legacy cubes, and that certainly I don't think we're going to see present in the cube the following week, although I haven't looked too closely at that one yet because I've been really focused on trying out Dekkaru's cube. Anyway, Blink is not something that you're going to mainline in your deck, but it is something that you can add as a theme if you have lots of ETB creatures, and it will just create some incidental value in an otherwise strong deck. Similarly, the wheel combo is present, but I don't think it's something that you're going to make the only win con in your deck. And then lastly, there are a few devotion options. Now, again, I don't want to get into it too much because all this is on the article on the mothership. The last one that I'll give is, as always, the Spiciest Card Award. Now, there's not a ton of spice in this cube, but there are a couple contenders for this spot. My favorite was Cruel Ultimatum. 7 mana, 3 colors, absolutely whopping effect. Can you build around this? Yes. Will this be consistent? Of course not. When you win with this, or at least when you tip the game in your favor, will it be the best fucking story you've ever told about Cube? You bet it will be. All right, let's get over on into some drafts and see what we can dig up. So we can see that there's been a lot of playtesting already going on. This list goes on and on and on because everyone's drafting it in preparation for the big event. Okay, pick 1. Very interesting. So we could get in some solid white removal. This is like the almost eponymous, right? O-Ring is what all those other cards are based on. We could try and get into red. This is a nice open pick because it's just colorless and gets you a land at 4, which isn't great. Rankle is just powerful. Bedlam Reveler, again, a bit of a build around. Getting into the spells deck, which I'm not against. I would actually grab this. I'm seriously considering that one. Mystic Snake, I think this might be a little low on the power side. This is more of just going to be a tempo filler, I think, in this cube from what I've looked at. We also could just get into the Aristocrat thing, but that's I think the first thing I drafted in this cube when I did some practice tests. So let's see if we can get into spells. All right. Wow, really good options here. Is it Charm? Ancestral Vision, which is quite powerful. And I had not seen this in here yet. And Jace, which would be a build around. I don't know if I want to chase that or not. I'll tell you what, if this wheel, because it's also just drawing cards every turn. And like, as long as you protect him, he'll get you there by himself. You don't need anything else except to protect him, which is easy. I'm going to grab the Vision. If Jace wheels, I think we might just get into that. I'm going to grab the Vision just for its sheer power alone. We could do some self-mill. Champion of Wits would help support that. In the more like 2-color, is it based spells deck? I think Abrade or Hammer. Abrade's probably our better option because Hammer needs a creature. I don't see anything else in that vein. I mean, Sarkhan's just strong, but not a spellsy thing. So again, I don't want to grab this, especially since we didn't grab the Jace. We'll grab a Braid. That'll let us take care of things if we need to. Logic Knot is usually quite good. Delving that is nice, and we probably will get lots of things in our graveyard. If anything, actually, this probably is, we just want this as just a generic like control payoff. Or we can grab this and try to get into more of a Grixis spells, which I'm a big fan of splashing black or white into my spells decks, mostly just because it gets you the better removal. If you don't have some black or white removal in your red-blue spells deck, you really have to rely on counter spells, and I prefer having a few options like that. So I think we know the Reveler is a payoff. Aetherling is just a general payoff. I'm going to grab Go for the Throat. That feels more on plan. Oh, speaking of on plan, Rise from the Tides. So again, I'm wondering about the power level on this, if this is going to be on par with the rest of the cube, but I know it's a solid card, and it's a really fun way to pay off playing lots of spells. So I haven't seen any rocks, so I'm hesitant to get into Wildfire. I am not too hesitant about Murderous Cut as a spell option. I'm also not against grabbing just Kiln Fiend and just doing that. That does match our spells plan. Now, this is more aggressive. I think it's worth noting that, at least in my mind, the spells deck can be kind of more controlling or kind of more aggressive, and this is the more aggressive version, but I dig that. This will give us a chance to cast other people's spells, which I'm a fan of, or we could just go more on the aggressive side and try to have some draw, but I think, I don't know that this is compatible with like a true spells deck. I guess we can just get some scry and draw cards, but I think I'd rather... Yeah, and 3 for 2, I get Rebound makes it good, but I think I'd rather just take your spells than anything else. This would fix up our mana a bit. We are probably not going to be able to convoke this reliably unless we switch gears. So I'm actually pretty big on just grabbing the fetch. Right, yep, just get a fetch and fix some mana. A sorcery, and looking at the top 3 will be quite good because that'll help us dig up some of our payoffs and whatnot. I mean, I guess at this rate, this is a payoff. We could theoretically get into Rakdos spells, like if we don't find more blue that we want. Although the charm wield, so I think this is definitely a grab. I know it's not like spellsy, but I think Sarkhan just holds up. I think he's just good on his own. I think he's fine that way. I don't anticipate playing that, but we'll grab it. I think we're going to get trash the rest of these picks. Yeah. We'll just grab that. I mean, I guess it's a 1-mana 1/1, but if I'm going to play something off color, I'd rather have a fetch. Oh, nice. Okay, so Counterspell, draw a card. Perfectly serviceable. Figure of Destiny doesn't really fit. This could be some good card advantage for us. We're going to want a Spectacle 1, and we do have some burn in here. A Shock, that's sorcery speed, but it's also dividable. I'm honestly pretty big on the Sin Prodder, and the reason is this is just a value engine. So if we can drop, you know, crack out some spells on 1 and 2, and then drop this guy on 3, not only is it probably a couple draws, or it's going to eat up some removal. And it also just sits there being a threat. So I'm a pretty big fan of that, actually. All right, I think this is going to be a fine top end for our spells deck. And if we have Sarkhan on 5, and then we have Niv or Rise or Reveler anywhere in there, I think we're in excellent shape. I could be tempted by the Ophiomancer for the same reason I mentioned the Sin Prodder. Like, we could make this more of a grindy, you know, very like high value mid-range Grixis deck. But I think with this, if anything, I'm actually going to shy away from too much black. I might even cut it altogether, or or we could have a 7-mana payoff at the top. My guess is with the payoffs we have, this is not going to be one of our top ones that we're going to want to play. So I would think we probably either want some more filtering, or I don't want to zoom this. 2 for 2 or tap a permanent. That is not good. I know these are versatile, but I don't care for that at all. Oh, this is a payoff. I always forget this. I know this card, but I don't know this card. So this is actually great. I mean, again, Kiln Fiend into this means every time we cast a spell, we are creating a great deal of threats for our opponent. Discard cards and then deal damage. Leovold is a beating. Oh my gosh, what a card. This is on color. But this is also a lot of stuff going into the graveyard already. We already have a lot of stuff that we're gonna like draw discard basically, you know. Negate's always fine. I don't know if that's our top pick, but if that wheels, I would probably grab it. And then Pact is pretty solid. I've never actually played it, so I'm a little nervous about whether or not it'd be good. Total CMC of the discarded cards. Each of X target creatures and or planeswalkers. So like you could hit pretty hard with this if you're sitting on, and it's discard X cards. So like if you're sitting on too many big payoffs, you can turn them into burn. Again, I've never really played this. I'm going to grab it. I don't know if it'll make the cut, and I don't know if that's right or not, but I'm interested by that. Dark Dwellers would give us a Snapcast in red for 3 or less. This is the red's idea of a torrential Gear Hulk. I don't hate that. I don't see anything else that especially. I mean, Thrill's fine, but again, we already have a couple filtering spells, and I don't want to get carried away with that. Fixing would be good if we're going to splash black, which, I mean, I guess we could just grab some red and blue versions of this, like, meaning if we grab a one of those filtering cards, we could cut black out. I haven't grabbed anything that we need that badly yet, like Cathartic Reunion. Like, if we just grab that, we can probably just stick with red-blue. So let's see if we get that. I mean, if something really good black comes up, that'll also invalidate all of our fetch lands. I mean, I know you can play them off color. I just mean 6 mana 1/1. I mean, I know it comes in with counters, but I don't know if I want to counter a spell at 6 mana. I want the game to be over, or I want to be getting towards playing one of my big payoffs, I guess, really. I don't see anything I love here. Like, this is cool to be an act of treason. I'll grab that. I just don't. I don't think we can place more big things. This is excellent, and I definitely don't see anything better than Saheeli in here. Getting the servos will be nice. Okay, so I guess now that we see it, I missed this on the first go round because we had so many other options. We could grab Seeker and try to get more into Jeskai spells, which is always solid because you have things like Lightning Helix, which, you know, we're only going to get one of those, but I don't mind that. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said it was supported, because then we can grab Sacred Foundry, and we're not going to want Dragon Hunter. I think we're out of black, probably. I mean, that's nice, but yep, because then we can get Solar Blaze, which will hit our own creatures, but grab Vindicate. We'll just play 4-color. We'll play 4-color. All right, I think we slid nicely into Jeskai spells. I'm a fan of that. Shieldbreaker gives us a spell. We could Fumigate, keep the board clear. Opt is always a solid option, just as a spell. Oh, Condescend too. That might be the pick. Get some counter spells. Just try and keep it at instant speed. I know this is fine if you have creatures. We're not aggro. I know there will be some artifacts we want to destroy, like the Lightning Greaves, if someone grabs those that we actually play with this deck. I'm going to grab the Condescend. I'm not super keen on the Fumigate because I would be worried about having like Sin Prodder just rolling and stuff like that. Like, we are going to have some creatures more than the typical spells deck, I think. Like, we might have God Eternal Kefnet. And again, I don't think I see... Well, Flooded Strand would be good, but I think we want God Eternal Kefnet bad enough to say we'll see if this wheels, which normally I would not expect it to, but with bots, you never know. You never, ever know. Multicolored swords. Solid removal and a spell on top of it. We can play the front half of this as 1 blue. 3 for 3. There's a number of these where it seems where we're getting some underrated burn, but it's dividable. You can split it up. Well, technically we could have gotten into Wildfire, except that we haven't seen any rocks since pack 1. I don't think I saw more than a couple. I dig Journey because Journey will trigger a couple of these things. A lot of what we have is instants and sorceries, but this one right here has non-creature and Saheeli, right? Yep, they both have non-creature. So again, might not be in the final 23, but I think it's worth grabbing. The Obstructionist can be nice. It's not actually a spell. Actually, I'm pretty high in the Reef just to bolster our fixing because I don't see anything else that's like unpassable. Another Shock that can be kicked, which is cute. This is probably not at all worth it in our deck. Yeah, and that just gives double strike. I think we just want the Reef. I feel good about that. Now, here's the other reason getting into white-blue is good. We can grab a sweeper if we want it. I don't know that there's anything better. If we were in black, in fairness, we could grab Thought Erasure. But I think we've committed, like, Swords, Seeker, having the Solar Blaze. I guess with Solar Blaze, I might cut some of these creatures out more, or we might be willing to just toss them knowing that it's going to get us. Oh, there we go. For 7 mana, we can make them indestructible and then use the sweeper. Did it. This is another top-end option. 100% should have grabbed Terramander there. Was not paying attention. Maybe it'll wheel. You never know. This is beautiful. That must be a custom image. That's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Literally none of this does... I mean, that's a spell. And it's 1 and a white in our deck. All right, so I think I'll take the Fumigate, and then, you know, we can aim for more, like, cutting out some of these creatures. I mean, I definitely don't see playing this. We could cut the aggro end where, because like Seeker and Kiln Fiend and Sin Prodder, we want to stay on the board. And God Eternal Cabinet, we obviously want to stay on the board, but we could play this after something like Solar Blaze or Supreme Verdict. And we could follow it with the more powerful ones like the Dark Dweller, the Perrin, or the Reveler. Could follow it with a Planeswalker or whatever. Could follow with a Fumigate. Or not follow with a Fumigate, but I mean we could Fumigate and then get into one of those. So I will take that. I'm not going to play that, but I'll grab it. Just stay on color because none of this is really going to fit. Yeah, none of the rest of this really fits what we're doing. I like this card, Mirari's Wake. That's a fun option. That just got printed in Historic Anthology 3. So I think we're going to see that in the Arena Cube. That's my prediction. I will probably update that again soon. Okay, so we're not running any of these. We'll definitely keep the Daredevil. We'll see from there. I know we don't want those. So this is really the only Delve thing we picked up. So I'm going to leave that for now. But Delve is a non-bow with stuff like Rise or Dark Dwellers or even Bedlam Revel. So you know what? I am actually just going to cut it. I'm just going to cut it. Ba, ba, ba. Nice thing about Mizium Tank is it will not dodge our sweeper, will it? Because we're going to cast a non-creature spell. This will trigger and become a creature, and then it will get blown to pieces. Womp, womp, womp. So it would, but it won't. We'll cut the black. That has green in it. That has green in it. We don't need that. These all fit fine. We don't need the black one probably. We'll see. This is really a... Well, let me move it. Yeah, all right. I just don't want to count it as a land. I just don't want to count it as a land when I'm looking at those. What are we at? 25. Okay, so we drafted pretty lean. Like we don't have a lot of room for big cuts or big changes. I'm really torn about these sweepers. I mean, if we're up against aggro, we're going to be really happy to be able to do that. And I don't know that I'll care about, like if we punch in a couple times with Seeker, and then we have to wipe the board, like, I guess that's fine. I just feel like this deck is doing two different things where these, like Kiln Fiend, Sin Prodder, Seeker, even the tank are building a aggressive spells-fueled attacking deck versus like these payoffs are looking to be the top end of a like more controlling deck where you get the spells in the graveyard and then get value out of them. But I don't know, they might be compatible. I think I'm willing to try it. I think I have to try it. I think we might need to cut Chandra. She's a definitely good top end. Like this curve isn't too bad. It's heavy on 2s. And then 3, like pretty even the rest of the way up. But I don't know if we want 3 6-drops. I definitely want Rise, and I think Niv is solid. We've got a couple fetches. We have a fetch. So I think we'll be okay getting that mana. I know it's going to be tight. I mean, I guess for 25, I could just cut the sweepers. But for sure, they're strong. And unfortunately, all of our creatures will kill themselves. Like, literally. I also just don't feel like we have quite enough of the most, like, the more powerful removal. Meaning, I don't think... Like, if I cut the sweepers, I'm afraid that these creatures are just going to get overwhelmed. Or they're going to get hit by their own removal. And we don't have the counter spells and the removal to protect ourselves up to one of these payoffs. So... Rise is fine as long as we're casting spells, as is the Reveler. I want the value engine. So I think I'm going to approach this more as a value engine deck. So I'm going to pull Kiln Fiend. I'm going to keep Seeker because he gains lifelink, so he's a little bit more grindy. And I'll keep the tank, but we're going to go more like mid-range, where we're going to like build value off of this, or like try to trade a lot of resources and have our creatures be more in that vein, where we are trying to trade down and just keep the board clear, and that way sweeping is fine. So she's also another sweeper, which isn't the worst idea if that's kind of the way we're going to go. Oh, it's tough. I like the filtering on this. We have a fair number of instants, so we're going to not find it too hard to play at instant speed. You know what? Oh, you know what? If we have that for artifacts, I'll cut Nature's Chant. We already have an artifact destroyer. All right, so I'm going to save this for now. I'll come back and put lands in and notes and a name and everything some point before we play test. I'm really digging this cube. One of the things I really like, I want to see if some examples come up. Stuff like Thalia. Like, I can't remember what the other card is because it's not as commonly played, but there's a lot of duplicate effects in the cube overall. And so if you grab something like Thalia, like you can be reasonably confident that you might see something else later that lets you do a similar thing where like creatures come in tapped. There's a lot of stuff like that I've noticed. Like Oust is in here. Which backs up Swords to Plowshares. It's not as good, but having a couple options is nice. All right, Judith is really tempting, but I did recently draft that deck in here. Actually, you know what? If I don't grab Thalia just for the pure power level of it, and I guess I could try and get into a more aggressive thing, I'm pretty tempted to just try and do a pod thing, but I don't remember off the top of my head if there's like a true pod deck where you can get a bunch of untappers, or if it's more just like a value, part of a value package. So I'm actually pretty tempted to get into, I never really draft anything that looks like aggro in any way. We could get into Kiln Fiend again and try to do the more aggressive thing. Here we go, another tax. Another tax. I wonder if we go mono white. 4 mana makes 2 2/2s, plus it's going to haste and buff all your other creatures. I like that. Could try and get into red-white aggro. We could do that. Grab both the Thalias. Thalia Tribal. Is that a thing? Then we really have to go creatures if we play this one. So stuff like this won't be as good. I'm going to grab O-Ring. It's just solid removal. It's just good. Okay, here's a more aggressive option. That's definitely nice. This is a good value engine. All by its little lonesome. I'll grab Legion's Landing. We have a white thing going. Sweeper, I don't think that's what we're doing right now. Could grab it in case we want to adjust, which we might. Bounce. This is an O-Ring creature. The Embalming is nice value. I'll grab that just in case there's a top end. Maybe we are just mono white. Could grab Doomblade and try to do an Orzhov aggro. This is aggressive. Would we rather have Bomat Courier in our so far white deck or the Inspector? Because that's a 1/2. This is also a great top end if you go wide. I was talking to Deck about this because I was asking if he had found it, strong, and he was saying that you have to play it in the right deck, but for sure it's very often one-sided value. This is aggressive too. I'm gonna go with the Courier, because then if we decide we're mono white, like we could play a really tight, fast-moving deck. White does not appear to be open right now, though. I will say that. So that's worrisome. 2 mana 2/1 is not what we need. You never know, too. I mean, it could very well just be... You never know, too, though. It could very well just be that this pack didn't have a lot of white in it. Let's just grab the Shield Breaker. It's a value card. Swift Spear. Here we go. Here we go. Should have grabbed the Kiln Fiend. I'm going to do the aggressive version of that. Not big on any of these. Go with the Tithe. Just hit their 2-drop or whatever. Trigger the Swift Spear. Get in for 2. I'm actually kind of tempted. Fuck it. We'll do it. We'll do it. Both of these wheeled. What is happening? What is happening? How do those wheel? Oh my gosh. I guess this is a nice top end to, like, maybe we're going a little more wide than aggro. Maybe we're getting like more tokeny. Couple of flip cards. Fix that later. Couple of flip cards. This one's got haste. And they just flip back. I've never been a huge fan of these. Let's see if we can go more tokeny, I guess. I mean, we could still be aggressive. And stuff like this, you know, will trigger the Swift Spear if it's still in the battlefield. So maybe that's a thing. Just grab something. Yeah, aggressive draw, right? That's how that works. I don't mind that for a more aggressive deck. Yes, Bone Crusher. Getting a little more mid-rangey there, but solid value. Could grab a fetch. Two for two split up isn't great. I like Bone Crusher. I mean, that's just removal into a 4/3 for 3. It's good. Solid. 2-mana 2/1, and then, oh, this is our aggressive card, right? It's our more aggressive card. This will protect us from the inevitable sweeper. I mean, actually, could just go with the Copter. 3/3 flyer. I'm actually pretty tempted on this. Yeah, let's grab the Copter. That's always good when you're trying to move fast. Wow. Multiple things I would love. I would love to grab the Helix just to burn off a blocker. This is insurance against the bigger decks. Mentor is going to get... Oh, but you have to pay 1. So... Comes in as a 3/3 as long as you've punched him first. This is also aggressive. Oh, if we were only in black... I'm going to grab the aggressive creature. We'll see if Helix comes around. And again, I think if we're going... Oh, Embercleave. Slam dunk. I was going to grab History of Benalia, but I think Embercleave... We're going a little wider. We're a little bit less aggressive as we're more go wide. Or another Warrior. Adorable. It's just a 1-mana 2/1 is what that really is. I'm pretty bad at this because I don't really ever draft aggressive decks. It's tough in my cube, and I'm also just not, like, the biggest... This is solid when you go wide. How are we doing on 1-drops? We've got a couple. Nothing at 4, or not... I mean, we've 1 at 4, but no creatures. I'll try this. We probably have enough humans to make the Parish guy work, but this is excellent. Ooh, if we were more mono white, I would slam this guy. Put a counter on each other human. And then flip it back. Palace Jailer is solid. Become the Monarch and get rid of a creature. More tokens. And we will have creatures to do that with. This is a 2-mana 3/2. We probably won't be able to bounce it. Unless we splash in a black mana somewhere, which I'm not sure I want to do. If we had like the Godless Shrine, maybe. It's more go wide. I feel like I'm really torn between kind of going wide and going aggressive, and I'm kind of keep going back and forth on which way I want to go. And since it's pack 2, pick 7, I probably need to make up my fucking mind. We definitely have some stuff worth splashing red for. So I don't know that I want to grab this. We also, how are we doing on humans? Human. She's a human, of course. Human. And she makes soldiers. This makes vampires. This is a human. Why not? Grab it. Worst case, it's a 2-mana 1/1. Some more humans. Oh, this is what I was talking about. Yeah. So, like, again, especially in the more aggressive slant, like, drop that. And if they remove it, follow it with Thalia. And you're like, yeah, everything's coming in tapped. I like that. I like that there are multiple ways to get those abilities. All right, this is solid. I'm very tempted. We're good on 1-drops, I guess. And I don't think we're super likely to ascend in this deck unless we get lucky draws. I just think stuff's going to die. Let's grab the fetch. Make sure our mana is a little more solid. This might protect us. The Helix Wield. I love that. Approach. Just kidding. Probably Fragmentize as a sideboard. And then we might have a humans thing just kind of happening by accident. No, we'll do the 1-mana 2/1 since we had to skip the other one. Painland, perfect for this deck. We get the Marshal after all. All right, I am not unhappy with where this is. Giver of Runes can be cute. That's going to be expensive. Top end token maker or sweeper. Not sweeper. Big guy sweeper. 2-mana 2/1 with Afterlife and tax. We do have like a little tax sub-theme going on here. Unless I'm missing something, I don't think you can make a true tax deck in here. This could be powerful too, just for the flashback in our deck. This actually isn't bad either. Just a slightly easier to cast non-creature Benevolent Marshal. So I'll take that. The Iguanar could be aggressive-ish. Don't think we need this kind of a sweeper. I mean, I'll grab it because it's on color, but again, I don't think that fits. This could work. This would be a great way to get an alpha swing. Oh, as is this, though. Dang. Oof. Tough choice in my mind. Because for 2-drops, we've got a few good creatures. But being able to push in hard with this. And normally this is less likely to wheel because this is in 2 colors. But we are in pack 3. That's also just with human drafters. Who even knows? I think the fact that it's a human is going to tip me over the edge. I'm not convinced that's right. Not convinced that's right. 2/2 pro black and green could be good. Could treat this as a 1-drop in red. I mean, it is. We have some ETB, so I don't think we want that. 1-mana 2/1. 1-mana 2/1 pro multicolor. I think out of everything, this is like the most stuff I want. Solar Blaze is going to be bad for us, but we are going to be triggering Spectacle pretty often. And I know we might go wide, but we might but we might cut back on that. So let's grab this lightning bolt-ish. This could get out of hand if they don't have the creatures for it. We could get a little more fixing. I like the Crater Maker. I know it's not super aggressive, but being able to just blow something up can make blocking tricky. Like, you're not sure. Leaves a lot of options open. How are we doing on lands? I'll grab one more land. Deck and Stone, I like that. Just some cheap interaction because we don't have a ton other than Helix and Skewer. Skewer should be reliable, but you never know. Yeah, I could Deck and Stone. Nothing good wheeled here. I'll grab that, but I don't see us playing it in this deck. The Prowess is cute. We're not going to have a ton of spells. We're going more aggressive. I mean, literally everything's off color. I guess if I was hating, that might be an option. If I was hating on something. I doubt we'll drop this on 4, but you never know. 3-mana 2/2 double strike. I'll take the aggressive guy. The sweeper will never play. Okay. So this ended up a little weird. I kind of went in two directions. Let's get rid of this. Keep Embercleave. Don't think we need Solar Blaze. Probably don't need the Angel. We don't have any blue. No blue. No black or green. Don't think I want that. I think we have other ways to do this. Where's the duder? Yeah, we have a way to destroy an artifact if we need to. I'm happy to play this just because in Cube, I think maining artifact removal is just generally safe. I really like the Copter, and I don't know if I like Thrill. I don't think we need that. Firebolt is tempting just to like that cheap blocker beater. What do we got? 31 non-land. I don't think we need Chandra. I think we're doing a different thing. And O-Ring might be too expensive because we're going to want to develop our board up to 3. This is probably going to be too hard to cast. And tie this cute, but no. 27. These are all pretty good. These are all pretty good. Like, okay stats, taxing. Oh, we'll get rid of that. We don't need that on 3. We're very low to the ground, I'll say that. This might not be what we want to do at 5. I think this is fine, especially for the battle cry. Like, oh, and they come in tapped and attacking, right? Yep. I haven't really looked at these. I mean, these 1-mana 2/1s are just excellent. I think we're going to want them. I guess the Deck and Stone could go. It would be really nice against tokens because they won't get the Investigate and we could get more than one. But like, we're the token deck right now, right? What about duplicate effects? I feel like this is pretty well rounded. I'm just not even sure. I guess we're not really going to cast a lot of spells. So we can cut the Prowess creature. I think we want to cut one more. I think I want to play 24. Because the fixing's okay. We're only in 2 colors. So many low drops. I'm torn right now. Deck and Stone. I don't want to cut this because I want to have something in case we get into the mid game. I mean, we're hoping not, so maybe that's folly. Maybe I need to get rid of this. But I'm pretty fond of all the 2-drops. Like, this might protect us from a sweeper or from some, like, dividable removal. Like, if someone gets one of those forked bolt type things. The no blocks. The fact that this could be a 2-mana 3/3. The artifact removal. Ooh. We probably actually wanted one or two more 1-drops that had 2 power. I passed on a couple of those. And I like the taxing, because I'm hoping that'll slow him down enough we can get in there for the final. I guess I'm going to cut that. Especially since we're going to play so few lands. And this gets cheaper. So like if you're swinging, you know, I don't know if we have any way to have 3 creatures on turn 3. I guess if we play 3 1-drops in a row, 1 and then 2 more, and then swing, this can go on for 3. We can flash this in for 3 mana, which would be nice. Yeah, I like it. So same thing. I'm gonna button it up later, but I'm pretty happy with this. So I got together with Dekkaru to do some playtesting. Brought the spells deck. Did not care for the first opening hand, so I mulled to 6 and dropped Nahiri's Wrath to the bottom. Didn't seem like it would be helpful. He's on white weenies, drops Mother of Runes, which is a bad news opening for me since I don't have anything but a 3-drop. Drops Thalia. I throw Sin Prodder down, which unfortunately is not going to get me a whole lot of value. Thalia's Lieutenant gets some counters. He swings in, gets me down to 17. Sin Prodder trigger digs up Direfleet Daredevil, which he does pay the 2 life for. I play Saheeli. Don't really have any reason to activate her. Palace Jailer gets a hold of Sin Prodder, clearing the way to kill off Saheeli before I can get any value. Bye-bye, Saheeli. He cracks in again the following turn for another whopping 7. Drops the Thraben Inspector. I reply with Sarkhan, the Masterless. Go ahead and make a dragon in the hopes of blocking. Dragon goes unexpectedly absent, clearing the way for GG's. White Weenie was not a good matchup for this spells deck. Mull to 6, mountain to the bottom, because I have a lot of lands. I figured that's going to work out because I've got some early interaction, including a draw spell. I swords the Thalia, drop the Mizium Tank, hoping to activate it shortly thereafter. Get Wallop down to 16. Drops the sword, which is more bad news. I cast the Reunion, and unfortunately I have to get rid of Kefnet because I have no blue mana, and then immediately draw blue mana. Hooray! That activates the tank, which I get in for 4. Pass the turn, and suffer the crackback, of course. Down to 13. Not really much I can do with the tank, but gets hit by Conclave Tribunal anyway. I bait out 1 more attack and then Fumigate, but unfortunately Dekkaru knows this cube and played around it. He redevelops with Mother of Runes and Adanto Vanguard. I drop the Bedlam Reveler and continue to brick. Gets me down to 6. I abrade the Vanguard, Mother of Runes activation in response. Is it Charm? In response, he pays the 4 life to make it indestructible. Gets in for 5, drops me to 1. I draw Ancestral Vision, which is fuck all good, so GG again. Second matchup is my aggro deck against a deck that Dekkaru did not draft. This was one that he found in his drafts. Rakdos Cackler Unleashed is an excellent way to open for me. I get in for 2. And then play the Smuggler's Copter, which is another excellent play for this aggro deck. Crew it up, swing, draw a card. I like it, so I toss Heroic Reinforcements. Doesn't seem like I'm going to need it at this point. Play the Imposing Sovereign, which I am going to use the following turn to crew up the Copter and get in for 5. I like where this is headed. I draw a card and toss Firebolt. Play Mishra's Factory, drop Big Thalia. In his turn, he controls Magic Thalia, which makes perfect sense, so I respond by killing her myself. Sad face. Same deal, get in for 5 by crewing up the Copter. He hits me with an Inquisition of Kozilek, and unfortunately there's not much that can be done here, so he politely asks, what's the hotkey to concede the game? F2, big buddy, F2. In game 2, I am riding high on that victory. No mulligan required. Open with a land, he drops the Signet. I get the Sky Knight Vanguard out, which again, great turn 2 play for an aggressive deck. He's got Leovold, which I can't let stand, so unfortunately I'm going to have to Lightning Helix that. Get in for 2 with the Vanguard. Hoping to make a bunch of tokens early and keep that going. He gets Golos, which is really bad news for me. Unfortunately, I don't really have a solution. Oh wait, yes I do. I'm just stupid and don't use it. I swing in, skewer him. Instead of hitting Golos with the skewer, Stomp combination. He hits the absolute fucking mother load with Nicol Bolas and God Eternal Kefnet on a Golos activation. Blows up my dual land. I start swinging, hoping to knock Nicky B down, but unfortunately he's got an excellent couple of blockers here against my 1/2s and 1/1s. At this point, I'm hoping to just close this game out, so I go ahead and toss a Stomp on him, putting the Bone Crusher on an Adventure. He blows up a mount with Nicky B, which means I am SOL if I draw anything good red. Another pretty decent roll with Golos. I get in there with the Imposing Sovereign again and the Selfless Spirit, but again, nothing I can do. GG Game 2. As we head into Game 3, I almost snap in and then decide I should go ahead and do a little bit of sideboarding. So I bring in a little bit more point removal in O-Ring and Angel of Sanctions. I drop Firebolt for the fact that 2 is just not going to do it, as well as Embrace Shieldbreaker since I haven't seen any important artifacts. Unfortunately, the opening hands I get are 1-landers, so I'm forced to mull to 5. Put the Angel of Sanctions on the bottom, along with Heroic Reinforcements, again, just hoping to get that early opening play. Fetch allows me to draw the Angel of Sanctions, ironically, after the shuffle. Thalia's Lieutenant, followed by Thought Erasure. He takes the Angel, so that thing's just had quite a day. I get to 3 and drop Earthshaker Kenra, get in for a whole whopping 3 damage. At least it's a start. Baleful Strix draws a card. I go ahead and get in again, offering the trade. He takes it, of course taking the 2/1 out of the picture. So I get in for 1 more. And then I hold up the Skewer because this time I don't want to be caught needing it. He drops another fucking Kefnet. Thalia in response, a little bit too late, but at least it gets me a counter. He reveals Terminate with the God Eternal Kefnet trigger. I Lightning Helix God Eternal Kefnet, swing in with my 2/2, hoping that he'll go ahead and trade. Since he doesn't, I go ahead and fire off Skewer the Critics, getting rid of it. He terminates my Thalia. We are back to an empty board, where I'm going to proceed to brick the next couple draws. He gets his God Eternal Kefnet back just in time for me to get Heroic Reinforcements and not even be able to attack. Plays Leovold again, Legion's Landing for a token, and the Storm Berserker, which he remands. Wretched Confluence gets rid of all my tokens. He gets in for 7. Tithe Taker and the Berserker actually stick. Nicol Bolas a fucking again, takes the Tithe Taker, swings in yet again for 7. And unfortunately, that is all she wrote. I'm forced to concede on the next turn, since again, I fucking bricked. Well, it's not exactly surprising that I got my ass handed to me playing against the person who owns the actual cube, but we had a great time. We actually had a really nice conversation about the website, a little bit about Cube, a bunch of fun stuff like that. So if you're interested, please let me know, because at some point I will try to release the uncut playtesting with all the audio and all the goofy mistakes we made and all that fun stuff as a bonus episode. So at some point I'll set some goals for that. In the meantime, please like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and send it to a friend. If you hated it, remember, send it to an enemy. You can find me on Twitter and on Twitch. Definitely give me a follow on Twitch, because in just a day or two when this goes up on MTGO, I am going to go ahead and stream a whole bunch of drafts and games. So I would love to have other people who are fans of Cube Cobra hop in and observe me bricking and shitting myself just like I did in this playtesting. I can't wait to see you there. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.